So over the course of the season, I've been asking several questions surrounding Miriam Egan, her background, and especially when it comes to her house. But now we've got more questions going into season 2, because earlier on in the season, I described her house, a house full of secrets. So something they've been foreshadowing ever since the beginning of Force was Kate's return to power. And with Miriam Egan's house being a house full of secrets, I questioned what is JP and Tommy gonna find, because this will give them the answers they were looking for, or more so JP because he was the one who was searching for these answers. But essentially they still needed Kate to return to piece everything together, and this is what we saw play out in episode 10. Kate did return, but ironically she left us with more questions rather than answers, because she revealed yet another hidden secret from Miriam's house, which is these walls are stashed full of cash. And this raises more questions, how and why Miriam's walls were full of money, but also why was Kate looking for money if Ghost left her plenty in his will?
I'm all you got.
Jamie left me some money, so I don't need you no more.
So Kate really did do a quick U-turn from not needing Tommy to accepting his cash. But we're just gonna run through a very quick brief overview of the events that played out from the whole season in relation to Miriam's house, these secrets, and the unanswered questions, and then we're gonna bring it back round and tie everything together. So after Tommy found out Miriam was alive and he had a brother who was JP, he realized there was this whole different life in Chicago, with D-Mac being his nephew as well. Now unfortunately the one person who could have told him some secrets had a stroke and was suffering from some sort of dementia or aneurysm, and this was done on purpose because it forced JP and Tommy to find these secrets and clues in Miriam's house. So they found their heights when they were kids drawn in the kitchen, pictures of them when they were kids, and videos of Kate and Tommy. But this also left them scratching their heads, because with every single clue came a new question. For example, were they there at the same time? How could Kate leave JP? And who was paying for Miriam Egan's nursing home fees? Now Herman was also introduced as JP's father, and he had one thing in common with Tommy. They both thought Kate Egan was a piece of work. Now it was inevitable Miriam Egan was gonna die at some point, because this was the link and something that would have had Kate come over to Chicago. But Tommy was never gonna call Kate because it would put his dead status in New York in jeopardy. So instead of Tommy calling Kate, we saw JP reaching out to his mother, who he's never spoken to or seen before. But when he tried to ring her for a second time, she disconnected her number. So this brings us back to episode 10, to Miriam Egan's house full of secrets, and Tommy and Kate's reunion. So as Tommy came into the house, we saw the walls broken and ripped apart, which we're gonna get to in just a moment. But this really did bring back the relationship Tommy had with Kate in Power.
Ma?
Tommy! Of course you're fucking alive.
Yeah, I can say the same shit about you.
And you could say Tommy and Kate really did have this estranged relationship where they do care for one another, because Kate always looked out for Tommy, and she even made reference to this in this scene when she said she's the only one who's ever cared about him, which she did, because she was right about Holly, Lakeisha, and Tony Teresi, which is why I mentioned earlier on in the season there may be a reason why Kate kept these secrets from Tommy for all these years, because looking at this from Kate's perspective, she could have been protecting him. Now Joseph Sikora did do an interview after the finale and gave some more background on his relationship with Kate. And he said, she puts Tommy in this constant state of being 12, where he's not quite capable to rule anything in any capacity, and she has this control of transforming him back to when he's 12 years old. Kate is actually Tommy's kryptonite in a lot of ways. He reverts to this childlike state when he doesn't have the strength or mental capacity to move forward. But regardless of how they feel about one another, Tommy still gave her money, and this shows Tommy still cares about his mom as well, but they just have a funny way of showing their love. Now in this conversation, Kate also found out she has a grandson, but where Kate said Tommy would never give her a grandchild, this was a direct reference to Holly.
I have a grandson? Oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Of course I mean, you never gave me one, so I kind of gave up on the idea.
And the look on Tommy's face just brought him all the way back to him killing Holly and his unborn baby, because this really was a huge moment for him in Power, because him strangling Holly definitely hurt him, but him finding out from Tasha she was pregnant while he killed her, this really did break him even more, and you could really see how heartbroken he was. And just imagine if Holly did have the baby, maybe he would have understood why Ghost did certain things to protect his family, because this is what he is now going through with him trying to protect D-Mac and not wanting him in the streets. But let's talk about Kate coming back and looking for hidden money in Miriam's house, because no doubt she's probably blown all the money Ghost left for her. So it brings me on to how much does Miriam Egan have stashed inside these walls? And why did she feel the need to hide this money? Now, Kate said it was something to do with her troubles, but I definitely feel there's more to this, because we don't know anything about Miriam Egan, apart from what we've seen and heard of on Force. So Tommy and JP didn't know anything about their grandma, but where Herman said she was a good woman, Kate actually called her the C word, and I do think this kind of answers the question about whether Kate was paying for her nursing home fees or not, because it really did sound like she despised her mom, and she also said she was dead when she wasn't. She also called her the C word, as well as trying to steal her hidden cash. So I really do doubt Kate was the one who was paying for her nursing home fees. So it goes back to the theory of whether this ties into the Flynns, and whether Walter Flynn could have been the one who was paying for her to be at Mulhern's, because there could be this Irish connection, and the whole reason why Kate was run out of Chicago and had to leave, because where she had JP, she knew she would never have been accepted. So this is definitely something to keep in the back of our minds now that Kate is in Chicago. But this brings me on to Kate meeting JP, and did she even want to meet her son? Because she seemed like she was only there for money. Because if she wanted to reconnect with her son on her own accord, then she wouldn't have disconnected her number. So this tells me she was only there for Miriam's cash until she realized she had a grandson. So coming to Kate and JP reuniting, this was something she wasn't expecting, because of how I mentioned Tommy and Kate have always had this estranged relationship, and I guess you could say the only time we ever saw Kate and Tommy embracing was after Tommy killed Tony Teresi. But you could tell where this hug started off as an awkward one, Kate definitely loved it, because as much of a hole ghost left in Tommy, this also left a big gaping hole in Kate's life as well, because he always looked after Kate. So JP will go some way in filling this void for Kate. But will Kate now stick around in Chicago, because JP and D-Mac does give her a reason to stay? But if she does, you can bet we will see this troublesome relationship that we saw Tommy and Kate had in Power, and I'm definitely all for it, because personally I do think she's still hiding something. So with that being said, this brings me on to the questions we need answering, and where it also left us with some new ones going into season 2. Now, at the beginning of Force, JP asked, is there any more of them? And only Kate can answer this question, but we do know Kate is a compulsive liar, but sometimes she does lie to protect. For example, Tony Teresi. But the next question is, what does JP stand for? And does this have any relation to James St. Patrick? And why did she name him JP? Again, something we don't know the answers to. And also, why did Kate leave Chicago and leave JP? Was she run out of Chicago for having JP because of ties to the Flynn family? And who was paying for Miriam's nursing home fees if Kate wasn't? Because if she had thousands hidden, she may very well have been able to afford it herself. But where did she get this money from? And why haven't we heard anything about Tommy's grandfather? As I mentioned, this is a house full of secrets. So it brings me on to the last question.
The doctors want my medical history and anything I have on Darnell. There's an envelope at Miriam's with everything.
So are these medical records gonna reveal any more family secrets? Because Tommy was supposed to get these for JP, until he was distracted by Kate. So will anything come from JP and Darnell's medical records? This is something we're gonna have to wait until season 2 to find out, because where they've left both families with the Flynns and the CBI broken, in contrast we have a family that's reunited. But how long will it last? Because we all know Tommy's biggest weakness is his family. So this house full of secrets is something that will keep on giving in season 2 in my opinion, and I really do hope Kate sticks around, which I do think she will, because it definitely brings this 12-year-old side out of Tommy, just like Joseph Sikora said. But drop all your comments down below in the comment section on everything Kate, Tommy and JP's relationship, and I do have a separate video on D-Mac coming next. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.